Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Chairman, PBA, members of the PBA, Deputy Governor, State Bank, presidents and CEOs of the banks and microfinance institutions, leaders from the fintech and payments industry, friends from the media, colleagues, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I'm literally what stands between you and lunch, so I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. But I would like to start by thanking the PBA for giving me this opportunity to come and briefly share with you the cashless Pakistan agenda of the government of Pakistan. With the apologies to my friends here who are here from abroad, I will alternate between English and Urdu, also because we've got a national audience potentially on TV that we would also like to deliver this message to. So the Prime Minister's cashless agenda is focused on digitizing the economy, ensuring that we move away from a cash-heavy economy to a digital economy. And so to this end, last year, just before June, the Prime Minister constituted a committee, which he decided to chair himself, which contained or comprised of all the relevant government agencies, but in addition to that, he ensured that relevant players from the private sector, some of whom are here in this room, are included in that discussion. And this has been the hallmark of every consultative process that we've had over the past year, whether it's been exporters, whether it's been the Pakistan Business Council. So in this particular committee, the PBA is represented. Zafar Masood Saab is here. Atif Bajwa Saab is here. We have the CEOs of two other payment players. And I would really like to pay my gratitude to them, because not only do they make time for the Prime Minister's meetings, they also devote a lot of time to the debates that we have as an internal committee prior to the meetings of the Prime Minister. Such a meeting was held just yesterday, where we ended up spending an hour and a half and had a very robust debate on where we stand with the cashless Pakistan agenda and what we need to do going forward. So I'll very briefly share the main components of the program and the progress we've made and the challenges that we feel we face going forward in ensuring that we practically manage to achieve what we are trying to achieve. So the program has three pillars. The first is focused on digital payments adoption within the government. The organ that's responsible for taking the lead on this agenda is the State Bank of Pakistan. Salimullah Saab is here. He spends a lot of time with us on this. I'll speak briefly about that. The second pillar is digital public infrastructure, which is led by the Ministry of IT. And the third is government payments digitization. That's led by the Finance Ministry or the Finance Division itself. So if I was to take digital payments adoption first, when we sat down last year, we decided that these are the three broad areas that we need to work on. But then we decided which metrics we need to start tracking, how do we define them, how do we incentivize them, and after deciding a set of policy measures and metrics, we gave it a structure in the form of a dashboard. Then we had debates internally as a committee to decide the targets for it. And now a year later, I'm pleased to say that on some of those measures, we've made meaningful progress. The first target we had was to quadruple active merchants on digital payments. That number stood at 500,000 in June last year. I'm pleased to say that that number stands at 2 million, over 2 million today. Similarly, last summer, the number of digital banking users in the country, as reported by the State Bank, stood at 95 million people. The target was to take that number to 120 million by June this year. And I'm pleased to say that we exceeded that target by achieving 135 million digital banking users. The number of digital transactions has also increased significantly from 6.9 billion to 11.3 billion. And all of this has been done because of the drive and the commitment that the Prime Minister has specifically shown to this agenda and the amount of time he's given. In the initial months of this program, the Prime Minister was holding fortnightly meetings for this particular agenda. And we as a committee would spend 3, 4, 5 hours every fortnight prior to that meeting in order to achieve those objectives. One of the things that was introduced in all this was a subsidy for MDR charges for payments through QR code. And the growth that I've mentioned from 500,000 to over 2 million active merchants on digital payments has primarily been driven by RAST QR. RAST itself has been operationalized. It has a new CEO. The board is now fully functional, and it is now playing a very critical and central role in all this. Similarly, on the digital public infrastructure side, the Ministry of IT has been taking the lead. But I'll just give a couple of examples. Obviously, you cannot digitize the economy, you cannot go cashless without having adequate, reliable, affordable digital public infrastructure. So to that end, two recent developments that are worth highlighting are the 5G rollout that you've seen. I think that will play a major role going forward. But in addition to the speeds, the coverage and the smartphone penetration are also quite critical. And so to that end, as one of the measures that was taken in this committee in order to make Pakistan cashless, right-of-way charges were waived for federal government institutions such as the National Highway Authority and Pakistan Railways in order to ensure that fiberization could be proliferated. The third very important pillar is the digitization of government payments, both G2P and P2G. And as a committee, we are not just focusing on the federal government, we're also focusing on the provincial governments, which is really where the bulk of the public-facing payments happen. So I'm pleased to say that the provinces are fully on board in this process. If I recall correctly, the G2P and P2G payments respectively are around 24 trillion rupees and 17 trillion rupees annually. So that's a huge amount. And just on payments that are made by the government's centralized entities, I'm pleased to say that the number of, or the percentage of G2P payments by centralized entities that were digitized last June stood at 9%. That number now stands at 75%. Similarly, government payments made by self-accounting entities stood at 5% last summer, and they now stand at 74%. The objective, it's a tall order, but we've got good momentum. The objective is to have, by the end of this year, government payments by all governments in the country, provincial and federal, to be totally digital. That means every pensioner, every employee, every vendor gets paid digitally directly to their accounts, no checkbooks, no visits to the offices, in order to both reduce friction and to increase convenience. Similarly, another objective of the committee is to completely digitize all P2G payments, which means every citizen in the country that's paying for a government service should have at least one digital option for making that payment for any service, whether they are entering the motorway and paying at the toll plaza, whether they're paying for their motor vehicle tax, whether they're paying at Nadra, whatever they're paying for, they should be able to pay digitally in using at least one of the modes. And so to that end, again, the Finance Ministry and the Finance Division is leading this effort together with all the provinces. Some high impact entities have been identified after, again, a very thorough debate in the committee. Both provincial and federal entities have been identified where we believe that the most impact can be generated first by focusing on those entities where you've got the most volume and the most value. So I'm pleased to say that we've made a lot of progress. The point of sharing all this with you is to really emphasize that the cashless Pakistan agenda is not just something we want to come and talk about in speeches and press releases. It really is a very core priority of this government. It is a core priority of the Prime Minister, who has devoted a lot of time and effort, and he keeps us all on our toes in order to ensure that we achieve these objectives. And it's also because he firmly believes that in the modern day and age, this is the way forward for our economy for multiple reasons. I would also like to flag a couple of things with respect to where we are now. And it's timely that we are meeting when we are meeting to talk about this subject. And those in the room who are part of our committee will bear me out when I say this. A year in, after establishing a dashboard, I've got it here with me. I'm happy to flash it. So we've got this set of targets, which we start every meeting with. We look at where do we stand on each of these, and why have we fallen short, where we've fallen short, and how do we challenge the claims of whatever has been achieved. So on the Prime Minister's directives, we've also now got a reputable third-party firm that is, whose sole job is to not just take these claims, these numbers, whether from the private sector or the state bank on face value, but to really go deep, to really test these numbers, to really test the quality of these numbers, to really understand the stories behind these numbers, and to really try and understand and assess for the government, for the Prime Minister, whether we are achieving the impact on the ground that these numbers are supposed to achieve. And on top of that, now we have also reached a point in this journey where we also now are assessing internally as a committee that what do we want to do going forward? Whether we want to just keep on tracking these indicators, whether we just want to have another set of targets for these indicators, or we want to try and do something different to try and take this journey to the next level. So to that end, yesterday we had a very robust conversation, and there was consensus that a lot needs to happen in terms of user experience. अभी तक हमने subsidies पे rely किया है, MDR charges की, and we've achieved the numbers that we've achieved with respect to merchants on QR code. But उसके अंदर भी अब now अब हम देख रहे हैं कि उसमें से कितने unique merchants हैं, उसमें से कितनी ऐसी दुकानें हैं जहाँ पर एक ही दुकान पे multiple QR codes लगे हुए हैं. That's not necessarily a bad thing if that's happened, but we want to consistently try and improve. We want to understand really कि कितनी दुकानों पे QR codes लगे हैं. दूसरा, we believe कि अब हमें ये देखना होगा कि on top of just the subsidy that we're providing and the tracking that we're doing and the nudging that we're doing, what can we really do in terms of making sure that this is the preferred option for the citizen and the customer, him or herself? क्या ऐसा करने की ज़रूरत है कि शहरी खुद ये चाहे, उसके लिए इतना convenient हो कि digital option, QR या otherwise, ही वो prefer करे? क्योंकि हकीकत ये है कि आज भी मैं as a part of this committee, मैं खुद भी जब किसी दुकान में जाता हूँ तो मुझे पूछना पड़ता है कि क्या आपके पास QR code की facility है, और अगर वो होती भी है तो the amount of steps it requires, it's really today, if we are very honest, not as convenient for the customer as paying through cash or card for that matter. So I think these are challenges that we need to address. I think similarly merchant onboarding के हवाले से हमने काफ़ी तफसील में बात की है, and I think that's something we want to try and tackle head on going forward as a committee. कल ही हमारी कमेटी की मीटिंग में इस बात का आगाज़ हुआ है. We've requested and the committee, the state bank, to take the lead over the coming days कि वो organize करे कि PBA, fintech players, payment industry के लोग इकट्ठे बैठें और देखें कि where do we stand with respect to this and what can be done going forward. So I'm glad that we've made the progress that we've made, but knowing the Prime Minister, he's always pushing for more, and I think we've built some great momentum, and I would really like to thank everyone in this room, because the banks have played a major part in this. The PBA has played a major part in this, especially those individuals who have devoted a lot of time and effort, have helped guide us in policy making and in making sure we push in the right places in order to achieve our objectives, because policy making in a vacuum, without private sector input, without the input of those who are actually on the ground, is hardly ever impactful. So I'd like to thank everyone who's played their role. I'd like to just share one other important fact before I really stop being a hurdle between you and lunch. बेनज़ीर इनकम सपोर्ट प्रोग्राम के बारे में आप सबको पता होगा, 1 करोड़ से ज़ायद ख़ानदान इस प्रोग्राम के तहत डायरेक्ट कैश ट्रांसफर्स के थ्रू उनको एड मिलती है। इस साल उसका बजट 800 अरब रुपए से ज़्यादा है, और ये रकम पहले आपको याद होगा कि एक कोड जाया करता था बिस्प से, उस कोड को लेके एजेंट्स के पास लोग जाके उसको कैश आउट कराते थे और उसमें कुछ एडमिन चार्जेस भी कट जाते थे। सो आई एम प्लीज्ड टू से नाउ every single BIS beneficiary has a wallet to which this amount will be directly transferred. Every single BIS beneficiary will have a wallet which will serve as a bank account, and it will be their choice whether they want to go and withdraw cash or they want to use that account to make payments for their bills, etc. And that's part of this cashless initiative. And this is not something that hasn't been done already. इस साल रमज़ान पैकेज भी जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने लॉन्च किया, उसमें इंश्योर किया गया कि अब कहीं पर भी आटे की बोरियां या यूटिलिटी स्टोर में लाइनें नहीं आपको नज़र आती। यही तय किया गया कि एक वाटर टाइट क्राइटेरिया के तहत बेनिफिशरीज़ को आइडेंटिफाई किया जाए, उनके वॉलेट्स खोले जाएं और उसमें डायरेक्ट कैश ट्रांसफर्स किए जाएं, और वही इस साल किया गया है। सो दिस इज़ ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस कैशलेस जर्नी। सो आई विल जस्ट end there by just saying this is the summary of what we've achieved so far. I'm grateful to everyone here for the role that they've played. I'm grateful to our colleagues in government, but I would like to really first and foremost appreciate the Prime Minister for the fact that he's really made this a national economic priority, and it continues to be an economic priority. And I'm certain कि जिस तरह का momentum हमने अभी बना लिया है private sector के साथ, PBA के साथ, उसमें मुझे यकीन है कि आगे I think we'll be able to set new targets, set new goals for ourselves, and really make sure that we manage to make this a cashless economy. Thank you very much.